Yeah, I don't have the greatest setup, but
No, it's perfect.
this room has kind of been a game changer.
Yeah.
There's a lady, it's a lady and her husband. They run a school up here called Acton Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been building some stuff in a part of their school, and they did all this soundproofing in the school. And they said one day, they're like, hey, would you like us to go put soundproofing up in the podcast room?
Wow.
Like, yeah. And so it looks great. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you can record from an iPhone in here, and it sounds a lot like this.
Really?
It's pretty cool.
Well, considering you've got the weights and the rock climbing going on, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then this, I don't know how it does it.
Yep.
But every once in a while, we'll hear barbells banging downstairs.
Oh, really?
And you just don't really hear it.
Wow.
So kind of it's not a crazy expensive setup, but
Yeah.
it works really well.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah. How you liking that element drink?
I like it a lot.
They're good because it makes me feel like I'm drinking an energy drink,
Yeah.
but I'm not.
Have you tried the hot chocolate flavors, like the chocolate hot ones?
No.
They just come in a packet, and I was like, oh, those don't taste that great. But for mornings,
Oh, that's cool.
hot water with it, it's like having hot chocolate, but the same
That's
thing. It's like it's
a great
not-
idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if we sell that flavor. We'll have to check that when we go downstairs.
Yeah, chocolate raspberry, I think is what.
Really?
Or mint. Yeah, one of those. It's really good.
chocolate.
Yeah,
Cool.
delicious.
Thank you for coming up and
Yeah.
chatting.
Yep.
So we met a while ago. I
Yeah.
think you reached out about doing a seminar at the gym, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of where it all started.
I think so. It's probably been, 6-7 years ago,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, seminar at the gym, like what do you do?
So, I teach some knife stuff, some defense. I also teach some gun stuff. The thing that people usually bring me in for is the knife. How do you defend against a knife? How do you use a knife? The reason a lot of people are interested in that is they're like, hey, I carry a gun, but there's a lot of places I can't carry it. So
Yeah.
what other options do I have? The reason I kind of got into that, I teach defensive tactics for my day job.
Yeah.
So I work for a government agency, and what I found is when we went hands-on and we're doing things, the gun was easy to control, but the knife was scary because it's omnidirectional, so you can change the direction. And so I started looking into it and researching and going and studying with as many people as I could. And I've been passionate about it for, I don't know, 10, 15 years probably now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's really when I came and I took that class from you. What kind of drove me to like, this is awesome, was your passion. It's just something that you can tell it's like deeply ingrained in you how important this is.
Yeah.
And then I loved how you took the broom and you put meat around it,
Yeah.
and then Levi's, and then you showed what different knives would do. And it's like, the knife that I'm carrying, is it actually sufficient for? And then you designed a knife.
Yeah.
Then you gave me a knife, which was super nice.
Did I give you one of those?
Yes.
Oh, so
yeah,
you got one.
I
Okay.
love that thing. And the pen. So
Oh, yeah,
you've
the
given
pen,
me
yeah.
a couple things. You
Yeah.
gave me that pen, which every time we travel,
Yeah.
that is in my pocket.
Nice.
And then obviously can't take the knife when we travel on an airplane. But
Yep.
yeah, that knife's awesome.
Yeah. So you got, was it the silver one, the Gogi, like the bigger one, or the smaller ones?
It was the bigger one
Nice.
that I think was the blade was pretty
Yes.
straight like
Yep.
this one.
Yep.
But not definitely different than this one, but still.
Kind of that Warncliffe, kind of that
Yeah.
straight edge, almost like a razor blade looking.
Yeah. And in the test that you showed, wasn't that kind of the...
Yeah. So
That's why I
idea,
got this one.
it's a smart design. I mean, when you start looking at blade geometry, that geometry like that just cuts and thrusts really, really well. So like if you picture like a box cutter basically is kind of the idea behind it. So for cutting, it's phenomenal. Whereas if you compared it to something that has a belly to it, like we got, something right over there. Yeah, something like that. So even like this blade here, I don't know if anybody can see this or not, but there's kind of a little bit of belly to it. So if you look at the end of this blade, that a little bit curved. So as the blade cuts, it dissipates all the energy at the end versus something like this. So this is the Ivy from Tops. It looks like a razor blade for those that you can't see it, but basically when it hits the end, all that energy dumps into what it's cutting.
That makes sense. Okay.
Also, the crazy thing is if you look at a blade like this for the thrusting, so if you're going to thrust forward, the idea is this acts as a ramp and it actually pushes the blade in and down and actually opens up the channel more.
Okay.
So
Yeah, which makes sense and it's also wider up here at the top. I mean, there is a camera, so hopefully people can see a little. We can maybe try to zoom in. My wife's the video genius, but
yeah,
it would technically be using that ramp, so this ramp and this ramp.
Yep. So it's pushing. And what's interesting about that is when we were kind of testing, so Michael Janich, he's a mentor to mine. He's a legend in the knife world, but he would do a lot of knife testing. He works for Spyderco, and they would actually take different blades and they would stick them on an arm that had kind of a pivot or like a wheel, and they'd put all the knives mounted and drop it so it'd swing on this arm and stick into styrofoam.
Yeah.
And what they were looking for is like, okay, how deep does this penetrate? And they looked at different blade geometries, and they had a Warncliffe, so something like this, picture a box cutter. And as it would go in, they're like, man, it's not sticking. Most knives would go and they'd stick in an inch or two. And they looked at the slow video camera, and they realized that it not only was going in, it was going all the way, hitting the handle and then bouncing out. So that was kind of the birth of making a Warncliffe or a knife like this, more of a tactical knife, one that you carry more for self-defense because it cuts and thrusts so well. But,
Dude, slow motion changed a lot of things.
yeah, it did.
So I've never heard what you just said there.
Yeah.
But I think it was Cold War era.
Yep.
Dr. Romanov in Russia. They gave him access to slow motion cameras, and they said, make us have the fastest track athletes in the world.
Wow.
So he slows everything down, and then he taught I can't remember what the method was, but it's essentially you're leaning forward and you're catching yourself with every step.
Oh, as they're running.
Yeah,
like the
so
sprinters.
if you can run on ice,
Yeah.
then you're probably a good runner. But if you're slipping on ice, you're pushing off and slipping. It doesn't work that way. So then they started to take the faster athletes. Faster athletes just fall faster.
Wow.
They're just falling forward more.
Wow.
Kind of random, not anything to do with knives,
But no, interesting. I mean, when you watch, I was noticing that with the Olympics when the sprinters would run, it's almost like they're like leaning clear over for a while.
yeah.
And that's
I don't know how to pronounce his name. Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't remember what the angles were, but he has the most angle of any other sprinter.
Wow.
That just means you're the fastest.
Wow.
If you can keep your legs to catching up to you. So you're not pushing off of your legs. You're literally just catching your legs up to you.
Wow.
It's kind of cool.
That is cool.
This knife,
Yeah.
so I was told, is late 1800s trapper knife.
Oh, wow.
So, and you can kind of see it's definitely been used.
yeah.
'Cause that's been
It's sharpened lots
sharpened
of times.
a lot. Yeah.
That's awesome. Really cool.
Full tang, I guess. But
Yeah, it's got all the way. Yep.
kind of fun.
That's really cool.
I think it even says on it where.
Sheffield, England. Huh?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. I don't know who doesn't like knives. Like they're just cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you get on these YouTube algorithms.
Yeah.
And I've been watching a lot of SHOT Show lately.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden there's like Melissa Backwoods.
Yes. Yep.
Have no clue who she
Yeah.
is until this year. And I'm like, she has solid knife content.
Yeah,
like
she
that's
does.
cool. She's just excited, and that excitement, that passion,
Yep.
just really draws people in.
Yeah. She's nice. She's been on Naked and Afraid. Was it Discovery Channel or History Channel?
Oh yeah,
I think 5 or 6 times.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Really, really cool lady.
yeah. I love what some women are doing in that world.
Yeah.
Like the Second Amendment world. And you ever heard of that Baby Yoda lady?
Yeah. She actually lives here locally.
Okay.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Quick
yeah.
story.
Yeah. Lindsay.
Yes.
Yeah.
My pitch to people on social media is,
Yeah.
hey, and I'm serious about it. I'm not like it's not my sales pitch. It's truthful.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you're busy. I love your content.
Yep.
I love what you're doing in this space. I have a podcast. Love to have you on it. And if you ever make it to Southeast Idaho,
Yeah.
my wife and I would love to show you around Jackson, Tetons, Yellowstone, fly you up around the Tetons.
Yeah.
So I pitched that to her.
Yeah.
She writes like immediately back, what if I told you I live in Idaho Falls?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. Once we get back from the trip we're taking next week, she's going to come up. And
That's
she was
awesome.
excited to do it in person, too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, she's great. So I met her through Tops, actually.
Oh, cool.
She used to do a lot of work with them, but yeah, cool lady.
yeah, fun to see. And just stereotypically, it's like, the men.
Yep.
And now there's a lot of women coming in. And it's like, hey, you know what? We're all Americans.
Yeah.
We're all children of God.
Yeah.
We all have an inalienable right to fitness. That too.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An inalienable right to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
So good job.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So she actually came to one of my knife seminars.
Oh, cool.
So she does all the pictures and stuff, but she's actually going out and practicing the firearms, and so
Yeah.
it's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, she's I don't know if she does her own photography or I don't know anything about her really.
She has a gentleman, I forgot his name, but he does phenomenal work. But yeah.
Yeah, really solid content.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah. So SHOT Show. You went down this year.
I did, yes. I
Did
think it was
you
my 10th
go-
time, I think.
Oh,
But
nice.
Yeah.
I just want to get into that world so I can just go to SHOT
We need
Show.
to get you in there.
Be fun.
Yeah, we need to.
I'd love to. I will almost just file for an FFL so that I can go.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, so for people that haven't ever been to SHOT Show, it's huge. Like you can't comprehend how big it is. I think I heard that this year with all the vendors, if you were to spend, I think it was 12 seconds at each booth from the time it opens to the time it closes, you wouldn't see everything.
Oh, wow.
And it's like 14.5 miles of booths.
Wow.
Like you don't understand until you go. And I think there's 56,000 people inside the convention center seeing all this stuff. And the fun thing about it is you can walk down the aisle and it's like, oh, I've seen that guy in a movie. I know that. It's a lot of fun.
That is pretty cool. Yeah. There's a few things that came out this year that, I mean, I want everything. I just am selective of what I get.
Yeah.
But that Staccato HD 4.5
yes,
that accepts
with the
Glock mags.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
awesome.
like, that might be my tactical games gun.
I think it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great gun.
It's cool. So what got you, like, so tell me your history. Just where are you from? Like,
Yeah. So I grew up not far from here. I grew up in Grant, Idaho. So what are we, maybe 20 minutes from here.
Yeah.
I lived right by the Grant gas station. So as a kid, I was probably around 12 years old, and the lady that worked there, her name was Fidela. She was actually murdered.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that was kind of the start to my life, is somebody that is near and dear to me is murdered.
Yeah.
So did that, went to high school. I actually went to Mexico for a couple of years. I lived in Guadalajara. So I lived in Providencia, Ciudad Guzman, Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
I actually love the culture a ton.
I do too. That's where we're heading next week. Yeah.
And for an orphanage, right?
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and I have, excuse me, this has carbonation in it, obviously.
But it's
We've
delicious.
gone to Haiti a couple times and done medical missions. But we've been like, we got to bring our kids.
Yeah.
You can't bring your kids to Haiti.
No.
You don't even want to bring us to Haiti right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mexico with kids next week.
That's awesome. And what part do you say? Actually,
So it'll be in Baja.
yep.
So we go through Tijuana, drive about an hour and a half south, and then cut into the peninsula.
That's so awesome that you guys are doing that.
It'll be good. Honestly, for our kids, perspective.
Yeah.
Like, life's hard. Like, oh, is it?
Oh, is it?
Let's go.
Yeah, you have clothes. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember living in Mexico, and there's a gentleman when I lived in Vallarta, and he was a kid that was crippled. Like, he had zero use of his legs. I mean, he's all atrophied, like no muscle. And up there, all the roads are cobblestone and rock and dirt. And he had a regular skateboard, probably like a cheap Walmart type board that the wheels wouldn't even spin. And that's how he got around.
Wow.
And you look at now, like even the poorest of us here in the United States have it way better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. Your kids are going to see.
Yeah, I'm excited
different
for them.
perspective.
And they're excited, and they know it's not going to play. It's not a vacation. They do get to play with the kids. Like,
Yeah.
kids are in school. As soon as the kids get out of school, they get to play with them.
Yep.
And we just kind of build and paint all day.
That's awesome.
good.
So good for you guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
So you lived in
Yeah,
Mexico.
So, yeah, Mexico. And then I came back and I went to ISU. So I got a degree in adult learning.
Yeah.
And then at the time, I was a really big cyclist. So, you know, the guys like Lance Armstrong,
Yeah.
I used to compete in like Logan to Jackson, the long
Oh,
stuff.
cool.
I'd never really even shot a gun before in my life. And my dad's like, hey, they're hiring out here at the agency I work for.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that sounds okay. I guess I'll do that. So I put in, and the requirements to try out is you had to run a mile and do a 40-yard dash. And because I was a cyclist, I just smoked the mile. Got on out there, was an officer for about a year, and then special response team, like a SWAT team, basically. Did that for about 6, almost 7 years as a sniper and assaulter.
Yeah.
Got in as the defensive tactics instructor because I just, when I do something, I fall in. So that's my hobbies now. It's like, it's guns, it's jiu-jitsu, it's knives, it's everything like that. So that's what I did, and then fell into the knife world, and here I am today. So
Yeah. And you just got back from Florida.
yeah, so I went down to Jeff Curran. He's if you've never heard of Jeff Curran, look him up. He's fought UFC, I think Bellator a bunch. I think he had 100+ fights, something like that. He's one of Pedro Sauer's black belts. But he puts on this retreat every year. This is the 10th year in Cocoa Bay or Beach, Florida. So it's 4 days of jiu-jitsu on the beach. And just, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Ton of fun. I think 200 people is what they limited it to this year. Last year, I think 225.
You said 14 days?
4 days, sorry.
Oh, 4,
yeah,
okay.
4, yeah. 14 would
I
be
was like,
even
holy
better.
cow.
4, but it's cool because you had the beach, you had all the food, you had the fun, the sun, and then they had the rockets, so you could see Elon Musk's law.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is cool.
way fun place to be.
Weren't they supposed to land on the moon?
I think I've heard that, but I don't know. Yeah,
I watched the launch, I guess, like a week ago. They should be getting there, right?
is it that close?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you got to see launches.
I saw one launch. Yeah. So where we did the jiu-jitsu was actually inside of a building, but it's crazy because of like the detonation or I don't know what you call it, rocket boosters.
Yeah.
As it goes off, it takes so long to travel. So the rocket is like up over your head, and then you hear the pump.
Yeah.
But
That's
pretty
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, even at a baseball game, you'll see them hit the ball, then you hear the crowd.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Lineage in jiu-jitsu is interesting to me. So you said Pedro Sauer.
Yeah.
I actually think it went Pedro Sauer, Matt Strack,
Oh, yeah.
Jared Emfield,
Yep.
James Emfield.
That does sound right, actually. I think they used to be with Pedro, so
Yeah.
that does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Matt started Soma,
Yep.
and they have a few schools that he, I guess, licenses out or
Yeah.
something. Which
Like affiliates or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, which I think if you have the name that you have, you
Yeah.
should definitely affiliate and
Absolutely.
get people doing your thing. That's what Isaac over here with
Isaac Payne.
Yeah, Hegan
Yeah.
Machado
Yep.
has their Hegan Machado school.
Yeah.
The lineage is just kind of crazy though, because it's like you're not too far away from Aleo.
It is crazy, isn't it? Especially like when you consider back in the day you would have had to travel clear to Brazil,
Yeah,
and now here you are.
yeah. Now the name's gonna leave me, but he's up in Montana. My
Yep.
coach is going Saturday to
Okay.
see him, do a private lesson with him.
Mm.
And Matt Strack said to him last year, he's like, "You realize you're seeing the Michael Jordan of jiu-jitsu."
In Montana.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Silvio Bering.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but that's kind of in the jiu-jitsu world. If you nerd out on it, it's
Yeah.
like Silvio Bering's. That's pretty crazy. But you just get to go purchase a private lesson with him.
Yeah.
So it'd be like me calling up Michael Jordan. Hey, can I have an hour with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Just kind of a cool world.
That is cool. And it's funny you say that because being in Florida last week with Pedro Sauer, he and Luis were talking about some of the experiences they had when they came to the United States from Brazil.
Yeah.
And they're like, we had no idea we were going to come here and teach jiu-jitsu. Like, who was going to be interested in learning that? And they
Yeah.
said the first while they actually lived in the garage. So they would go in there and they said that like Huron and all those guys would be like, hey, put him in a headlock. And if you get out, you owe him $20. And hey, if you don't get your head out of there, then you owe me $20.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool.
But they said like privates back then were like $20 and
Interesting.
training with like the old guys. So
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, you go an hour with Pedro Sauer or Silvio
Yeah.
Bering, you're probably $500-$600.
Yeah,
Gordon Ryan, you're probably $1,000.
probably. Yeah.
You're paying for his hair, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's got to keep it looking good.
Yeah. It's I saw him, like, man, he looks like either retro or old.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I guess it's right. He bleaches it
He
or
just
something.
bleached.
But
Yeah.
That's cool. So your whole life right now is defense.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all that's what I do for my hobbies. You know, a lot of the guys I work with. So again, for my day job, I teach firearms, heavy weapons, play with explosives a little bit, that kind of thing. And like, it is my passion there at work. And then also outside of work, a lot of the guys I work with, like they dabble and they like it, but there are things they'll do, snowboard, or they'll go boating, or like when I have a day off, I go to jiu-jitsu seminars or so yeah.
That's cool. Or every night you're pulling out the VR,
Yeah.
playing on the Ace.
Yeah, I love that thing. Have you played with it all?
Yeah. I don't do it enough, though. Like,
Yeah.
I was almost said I texted you yesterday, but I actually texted Kirk Holmer. Do you know him?
I've heard the name. I'm trying to think.
I'll connect you guys at some
Yeah.
point. He's awesome. But I said, hey, that Staccato CS, like,
Yeah.
would you sell that to buy that new Staccato HD 4.5?
Yeah.
And he's like, how much do you shoot the CS? I'm like,
Yeah.
not enough. So it was something like that. And he's going to listen to this and like, that's not the same conversation.
That's not
we had, but
yeah.
It was something
Along
like
those
that.
lines. Yeah. Yeah.
So I just need to shoot more.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing with the Ace, so for those that haven't seen it or know what it is, it's basically like a virtual reality dry fire game. And when I first saw that, I was like, that's cheesy, man. But I was at TACCon in Texas last year. A good friend of mine was like, dude, you got to try this out. So I put it on. I've never played with VR before, like the meta and all that stuff. I'd never done. I put it on, and even though the image is cartoony, I left it going like, I feel like I was just on the range.
Yeah.
And I think the value, I mean, I think you can spend between $300 and $800 to get set up, I think, is roughly. And I think the value that it brings, if you are willing to spend even 10 minutes a day, like it will put you light years ahead because of the visual side of things that you can't get.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it's crazy. Like, I went into Madison Armory the other day.
Yep.
I've never had a membership there, but I try to go support it and shoot.
yeah, they're good. It's a good store.
And I finally was like, you know what? Their membership's really cheap. Like,
Really?
Let's just do it. So I did it. And then I go once or twice a week. And I'm like, this is getting really expensive.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
their membership's fine.
Yep.
But you go shoot 100 rounds
Yep.
every single time. And then I'm like, okay, I'm shooting too much ammo. So we're going to do one-shot drills. You know?
Yep.
Just one at a time. But still, then you take your kid, and it's like every time you go shooting, it's $40, $50.
Oh, yeah.
So that VR, it could be a real game changer.
I think so. And if you actually talk to the guys that are like in the top of the game right now, 90% of the work they do is dry fire.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman, I don't know if you've heard his name. His name is Jay Beal. He's out of somewhere back east, but he's only been shooting a few years. But I want to say in the first few years, he shot less than 10,000 live rounds. And most of that was like just in matches and stuff. But he's one of the top guys in the country right now. And it's almost all dry fire. And it's interesting, but I think it compares to life really well, because dry fire may not be as fun unless you're playing ace, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
But sitting there, you know, doing your reps and doing the things is kind of, it can get monotonous. However, that's what makes you better at the skill, just like life.
Yeah. I was, if you didn't go there, I was going to go there.
Yeah.
It's just funny how the non-sexy things
Yeah.
are what, you know, when I was like the most jackedest of my life, which I'm obviously not right now, people are like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, the boring stuff. I eat a lot of protein and I work out every day. That's it? Yeah. That's like, there's no magic pill.
Yeah.
You want to become a good shooter? What do I need to do? Like, teach me. That's how I am with Kirk. I'm like, teach me. He's like, do you shoot enough? No. Then you're not going to be there. It's just the easy, not the easy. That's the wrong word. It is the consistency.
Yeah. It's, I've heard it said before, it's simple, it's not easy. So it's like, here's the simple things you got to do. It's not easy to do it, but it's really simple. The gentleman that he won limited this last year at USPSA Carry Optics, he was trying to figure out like, hey, how do I become the best shooter ever? And so he's asking his coach, and he's like, you just got to do one thing. He's like, what's that? He's like, just work harder than the guy that's current champion.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Then it goes into, though, like maybe with shooting. Yeah. You know, there's steps to get there.
There is, yeah.
Like, I'm trying to break into this like online world.
Yeah.
Like, everything we've ever done is service-based business. And now I'm like, how do I break into this online? It's like, okay, I'll work harder than anybody. Yeah. But I keep doing the wrong things. And I don't know what path to take.
Yeah. But are they setting you up potentially down the road because you're doing
Totally could be. You sound like my wife.
Okay, good. She's a smart lady.
She is a smart lady. Yeah. So how would you tell people from your seminars to go home and train with a knife? Yeah.
So a lot of people actually ask, they're like, this is great. You know, I went and trained this with you, but I had a training partner at home. I don't have anybody. Yeah. So a couple things that I would do is I have a heavy bag at home, and I would take a pool noodle. So just buy for 99 cents at the dollar store, $1.25 now, everything's inflated. Yeah. But you could take that and put the arms basically around the dummy, and then you can practice all these techniques just on a pool noodle.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like you don't have to spend money on this. And I think that's what a lot of people put. It's like, well, I don't have a training partner, I don't have a gym, I don't have, you don't need it. I mean, it's helpful, and you do need it occasionally, but you can do a lot just with a dummy, a 99-cent dummy.
Do you ever take the firearms stuff and the jiu-jitsu and the knife and put it all together?
Yes. In fact, a course that I'm going to start offering, the first one's in a couple months, is called Earn Your Draw. And so the whole course is based around, you know, everybody is like, hey, I've got a sub 2 second draw to a 7-yard target. I can hit 6 shots A-zone sub 2 seconds. It's like, that's awesome. You can do that. But how do you get your gun out when somebody's grabbing you? Yeah. How do you? So this whole course is based around creating opportunities that if the situation was provided that you had a deadly force situation, that you can actually get your gun out and use it, or your knife. Yeah. So it entangles all of those pieces.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Which is so important. And I feel, so I'll just tell you, I went through this little period where I felt confident in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
That period's gone by the way. Like, I like rolling with white belts today and one taps me. I'm like, belts don't matter. Yeah. I know, like, you're supposed to be like, hey, you know, check your ego at the door. I'm like, I'm so tired of getting tapped by white belts. Yeah. So my confidence is gone. Yeah. But it was there. So at some point I was like, hey, I'm confident. I stopped carrying. Yeah. I stopped concealed carrying. And I'm like,
because you just felt,
felt good.
Uncomfortable carrying it. It's like, I feel strong and capable. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And I said that to my coach, and he's like, that's horrible.
Yeah. Like, a lot of guys do that.
Why are you doing that? And I'm like, I don't know, actually. It was almost unconscious. Yeah. He's like, I teach you jiu-jitsu. You know some firearm stuff. Jiu-jitsu's second. Yeah. Like, what if they come in with a gun? Right. I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah. You taught me how to take a gun away once. So it's just really interesting how that can all shift with confidence, when really in reality, we need to be good, maybe not great, but good at everything.
Yeah. Well, interesting you say that, because when I got kind of in the knife world, again, I was on the special response team. So it's a lot of, how do I say this politely? Everybody's better than each other, you know, like everybody on the team is like, well, I'm, you know, so there's a lot of puffing up of chest and whatnot. And when they found out I was getting the knife stuff and taking all the classes, like, dude, why are you doing the knife stuff? I got a gun, I'll just shoot you. Yeah. And it's like, okay, what gun are you carrying right now? Well, it's in the truck. And it's like, cool, that does you zero good. And not only am I doing the knife stuff, but I'm doing the gun stuff too. You know? So that's what cracks me up is like everybody kind of has their assumptions, but you do have to be kind of well-rounded, and it's hard because there's so many pieces. Yeah. How do you find time to do all of this stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, because I said actually in a podcast a couple of days ago, balance does not exist. We're all chasing balance. And if I look at my life over the last 16 years, like I'm talking married life, business, kids, there's balance over 16 years, but there's not balance in the last month.
I bet. Yeah.
It's just interesting.
Watching all the work that you're putting in, I mean, between the rock climbing gym and the CrossFit gym, and you've got the, what do you call the tar?
The pavement.
The pavement. And I mean, getting your pilot's license, doing jujitsu, like doing the tactical games. I mean, you're a busy man, family, but yeah, I don't think there is a perfect balance. In fact, I took a course from John Correa. If you've heard of him, he does the active self-protection YouTube videos.
Okay.
So he's analyzed now, I think like 60,000, life or death situations where somebody's, pulled a gun or a knife. So his videos are awesome. But I was asking him, I took that course, and I was like, how do you balance your life? Because he has kids, and he's like, dude, there's no balance. Like if you want to be good at something, some things are gonna kind of have to sacrifice. And on that note, if you've ever heard of Daniel Horner, he's a 3-gun national champ.
That does sound familiar.
Won more sniper, competitions than anybody else. I recently took his course on mental management, and one of the things that he talks about, and I won't give it all away, so if you want to find out more, you got to take his class, but he talks about as far as like having goals, going into a room and the room being full of balloons. Like there's all these things you want to do, and at any given time, you can only pick up 2 balloons at once. And if you're going to pick up another one, you have to drop one. So trying to find that balance in life of what's important to you is a critical piece. And I think there's seasons.
Yeah, I agree. Also, as you were talking about the gun and the knife, what if they're 20 feet away?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if we tested that, or you tested it and showed us at that seminar.
Yep.
But I know we've done it. Even I was a SWAT medic for a little while
as
I was kind of finishing my paramedic life and journey, and we would just play with stuff like that. Get a trainer knife and a dummy gun.
Yep.
Try it, and really, like, that's real.
And it's fast. And in a real situation, people aren't going to like start from 21 feet back and come stab you.
Yeah.
But the idea of how much time it actually takes, and the interesting thing is, I get that a lot. Is people see my knife stuff and they're like, dude, if I get within 21 feet of you, I'm just going to shoot you. It's like, really? Like anybody that's going to use a knife is probably not going to be brandishing it and showing it to you before you get there. But the crazy thing is when they set up the 21-foot rule or whatever, is actually with Dennis Tooler. He was a sergeant in Salt Lake. And the idea behind it wasn't so much like, hey, if they get within 21 feet, I can shoot them. The idea was like, how long does it take an average officer to draw their firearm to engage? And he never meant for it to be a rule, but now everybody takes it as a rule.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is now, because of the way technology and things have and skills and training has evolved, now they've extended that in a lot of courses to courts to 32 feet. So that 21 feet that they always used to talk about, they've actually extended, like, this is how far
that's crazy
you have. Yeah, you think about how far that is.
Yeah, you feel like you're so far away from that person, and you are a second to a second and a half away from death.
Oh, yeah. And the interesting thing on that is, like, that's why one of the biggest things, if you remember in my seminar, is talking about awareness and what's going on around you. Because you can learn to be the best ninja in the world. And if you're not paying or aware of what's happening to you, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I've looked for you all over because you said that if someone can come up and tap you on the shoulder, so I'm always in Idaho Falls. I'm like, where's Adam?
So for clarification, if you're listening, I do a game in all my seminars. And what it is, it's kind of an awareness game. And it's not to make people paranoid, but the idea is just, be observant of what's going on. If you hear a door open behind you, just take a glance. You don't need to be like scanning your areas and watching your six all the time. But the idea behind the game, you have to come to one of my seminars, and then I issue this challenge. And if you can do the thing that I recommend, then I'll give you a patch and a gift card. So I've been doing that challenge now for probably 6 years, several thousand students at this point. I think I've got caught 3 times.
That's awesome.
SHOT Show is never fun. We talked about SHOT Show.
Yeah.
55,000 people, and there's probably at any given time 200 or 300 people in there that I've taught.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of people try really hard. One time I got caught. I was an officer that I was training out at my facility. So to mind you, to get out to where the agency where I work, to get in there, you have to have a security clearance, a badge, go through gates, metal detectors, all that stuff. So I feel pretty safe out there.
Yeah.
So I got done working out, and I'm walking out of the shower just butt naked. And one of the students, again, he's an officer there in my class. does the thing, touches my shoulder, and then it's like, oh, dang. But he got me, you know? Another officer. We were driving from the range. We had this big van, and she had actually hidden in the back seat, and she got me as well. And then the last one that just happened was actually, I was at a wrestling, I think it was a tournament or duel. Anyway, I was really involved in this wrestling match, and snuck up and got me in the middle of the wrestling match. So
That's awesome.
3 times, but
well,
yeah,
3 out of thousands. That's good.
Yeah.
But I just know I am looking for you when I'm in stores in Idaho Falls.
I've heard that from a lot of people. Yeah.
So, what's the evolution? What do you do next? How does this all grow?
Yeah.
What are your plans?
That's the hard thing. So I'm in a weird situation because the job I have for a day job, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Like there's very few people that get to do what I do for a living. And because, you know, you have retirement and healthcare and all the things that go with it, it makes it really hard for me to jump and go full in on my own thing.
Yeah.
In fact, when COVID happened, I had to cancel 13 seminars around the world. I had Japan and Kansas City and all these places. And it kind of made me put the brakes on everything because it's like, oh man, I really want to kind of do my own thing, but I do enjoy what I do. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's cool. And that's not a bad place to be. I mean, you know, we all think that we should be able to plan out our life and do it exactly how we think that we want our life to be. And
yeah,
life's different. I thought I was going to be a dentist.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. So then I went to college and I was like, this is stupid. So
well, you're smart enough to be a dentist, but I look at you as this guy that just like, you just do things and you get things done. So
I have to. My mind does not sit idle.
Yeah.
Or, you don't know Blake Davis, do you?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Blake.
Yep.
He's like, grass sure doesn't grow green underneath your feet.
No, it doesn't.
It just doesn't. And that's just how my mind works.
Yeah.
So you mentioned 2 balloons and I'm like, I need 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
armpits.
Yeah. Yeah. Now those balloons might not be very big.
Yeah.
But I just have to have 4 balloons.
That's awesome.
They all have the same amount of air as the 2 balloons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just how my mind works. I would love to focus though.
Yeah.
Like I envy people. Envy's the wrong word.
Right.
'Cause that's kind of, but a little jealous of people who can just hold a normal job.
Yeah.
And they're happy.
They're just happy with it.
Like
yeah.
that's cool. Like or that finish college.
Yeah.
Good job. That's awesome. I didn't have the attention span to do that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but the grass is always greener.
Yeah, it is.
Like when I was business only, I was like, man, I'd love to be a paramedic and just do that.
Yep.
And I jump into that world and I'm like, yeah, this is great, but it'd be really great if I just jumped back out of that world and went full-time business, and you get out and you're like, then you're jealous of people that have, it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't think the life is never as good as you want. So you can always be desiring something that maybe we need to be a little more grateful while we're pursuing what we have.
For sure. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Like, and talking Haiti and Mexico and the United
man.
States, like we are so lucky. Our coach, our main coach here, he's from Brazil and he loves this country so much. And you get talking to him and he's like, this is amazing.
Wow.
Like it's weird because I hop on social media and I hear about how bad our country is or how bad your country is.
Yep.
He's like, this country's not bad.
Wow.
Like, I love this place. I will do anything in my power to become a citizen of this place. Like he's awesome.
That's cool.
It's just perspective.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to get caught up in politics and go, oh, this Trump and this Doge thing and it's all corruption and then on the other side, like we're finding all this corruption.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, man, let's just sit back
Yep.
and just appreciate what we've got.
Yeah.
And then know that I have liberal friends and I have conservative friends. Interestingly, the liberal friends want what's best for this country too.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But we have different ideas of how to get there.
Yep.
So we can just love each other
That.
and we can have a good conversation.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need more of that.
It is weird. I said this on a podcast a couple days ago, so I'm like repeating it, but I saw this thing. It was just a very highly liberal individual who came out and they were so against Elon Musk and Trump and all of this government stuff. And they were so off base in my mind that it actually made me think, where am I off base?
Yeah.
Like he went instantly to like, this is all horrible. But I'm sure that I do that too on the other side. So like, where are we both wrong? I've just been trying to think of it.
Yeah. How would you realize that? Because I think we all have our biases and we're going to think the way we think, but obviously we have things that aren't correct, and I don't think there's anybody that's living a life that, oh man, they've got everything perfect. But how do you analyze your life and be like, okay, I could really change this perspective? Or maybe I thought this is the thing they're trying to get out, but really they want this. How do we change our views?
I don't know. It's got to have something to do with ego.
Yeah.
And letting go of that ego. So I actually think I lean pretty left on social programs.
Yeah.
But I didn't used to.
Yeah.
Now, let me caveat all of this. We do social programs wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm perfectly fine paying tax dollars to help people.
Right.
We just haven't been doing it right. We help people and then we give them a crutch. And they never elevate themselves to a new position.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, take my taxpayer dollars as long as I know that is going to somebody. Honestly, if they'd pattern it after the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints welfare program, we'd be in a really good spot.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't. I have a buddy. He's awesome. I'll tell you his name after this.
Okay.
Super liberal. We're like best friends. And his whole thing is he loves guns, so that's good.
That is good.
But he does not want private control of any public lands.
Yeah.
And he really goes off on
wants
why.
it,
And he says, look at Texas. You can't go ride dirt bikes in Texas. Look at Idaho. It's great. And anyways, it kind of changed my mind on now I still think private property is extremely important.
Right.
Like, stop taxing me on my land.
Yes.
Stop taxing me on. But it's okay to change our mind a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Along those terms, I was in, I think it was at Jackson or somewhere a while ago, and they had this really cool park with a rock climbing wall. And I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I was like, why don't we have something that like where we live? And I think it is because of some of the conservative values that people are like, well, we shouldn't be spending money on, this parks and recreation. We should be putting it here elsewhere. So I think it is good to keep more of an open, like how do we help people?
Yeah.
I don't care how we get there, but let's all strive for the love. Let's all try and get everybody to be happy and taken care of.
Yeah.
And encouraging people to work for what they need to.
For sure. Yeah. Because I do think if we look back at history, the only countries that have ever had a low poverty level like the United States are highly free market. So although I just said, I'm good with social programs and this and that, a free market society actually elevates the entire society.
Yeah.
As soon as we've looked into communism or socialism or fascism, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So history is important.
It is important, yeah.
So the sky's the limit for you.
Man, it could be anything, huh? Yeah.
It's really cool.
I actually, before I got into the knife stuff, so I'm one of those guys, like, talk about, like, focusing on something. I'm kind of the same way until I found the knife world, because I would jump on this hobby or do this one and do that. And I had a friend that was on the SRT with me. Funny enough, he was actually a lawyer, and he's like, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. And he came out and became a sniper with me. But he's like, dude, I don't know what you're going to do tomorrow. You're going to, like, learn the flute tomorrow? Like, what's your thing? So it kind of funny is.
But that also is a testament to it's okay to try other things until you find what's your thing.
Yep.
You've probably heard me talk about Ikigai.
Yeah.
You've found your Ikigai.
Yeah.
That's really cool because that's a game changer.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
Yep.
Most people, sadly, don't want to go to work. They just want to go home.
Yep.
They want to watch Netflix.
Yep. Football.
Yep, football.
Yeah.
Football. Yeah, don't even get me.
Yeah.
Football is just the Roman Colosseum
It is.
moved to the United States.
Yeah.
So
I laugh so hard. Like, I'm not really a big football fan, but I've got so many friends that are. That's their passion. They can tell you any player, their stats, all the things, because they do the fantasy football. But it makes me chuckle. I hear it all the time, like, dude, we're going to the Super Bowl this year. And it's like, what do you mean we're going to this? Yeah. But it becomes their whole life.
Yeah.
And I think we all do that. I'm probably that same way with the knives and guns and stuff too, but it's just interesting what we put our attention on.
Yeah, I think it was the day before the Super Bowl. My oldest, he's like, I don't like Patrick Mahomes. I was like, who's Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, who's that guy?
Yeah. He told me, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going against what you say here.
Yeah.
But I want you to think about what you just said.
Yeah.
Why don't you like him?
Right.
Is that your opinion?
Yeah.
Or were you told to think that?
That's brilliant.
So he kind of starts to think, and he's like, okay, honestly, like I was probably told to think that.
Yeah.
My friends don't like him. He's like, but it's okay for me to, also, and I'm like, yeah, it is okay. You just need to realize, like, what are we okay with? What are we saying? Are we pro-life? Are we pro-choice? And is that our choice, or is it because what we have heard?
Yeah.
Now, I have liberal friends.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about that.
Right.
Do you believe these liberal things because you've been told that?
Yeah.
or because you truly believe that. I actually think most people in this country are libertarians.
Yeah.
But they don't know that.
They don't. Yep. Most people just want to be left alone, be able to enjoy a little bit of freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, my grandpa grew up in Manan. He was a Democrat.
Yeah, really? In Manan?
Yeah, but
wow.
Democrat back then was kind of the party of the people.
Yeah.
You know, then things kind of shift around, and it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's interesting.
But that is fascinating, though, you say that about your son and asking that question, because I think if we all looked at life a little bit like, hey, why am I thinking this way? Why is my perspective of this person or this thing the way it is?
Yeah.
Is it just because of the culture I was brought up in? Is it because of, I claim to be whatever political party? Man, we could, I think that actually goes back and answers the question of how do we fix the problems we have. It's like, get down to the root. Why are we thinking, or why are we doing? What is the genuine reason that we're doing this? But I think the challenge of that is people will withhold what their actual true, I would say, motives are because of what they're trying to get to. So that's a challenge. But
yeah. Wasn't it Abraham Lincoln? He said something along the lines of, I don't like that guy.
Really?
I think I should get to know him better.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
That's really good stuff.
That's awesome. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I might be misquoting, but someone will.
Yeah.
Not to go clear back to this grant thing, but I remember when that happened.
Yeah, Fidelity.
And we went on a young men's night to the jail.
Yeah.
And the Shanahan kid was in there.
Yep.
And just such a crazy
stuff.
Crazy deal.
Yeah.
Were they MK Ultra'd? Like
so all I remember with it is they'd actually watched a movie. I'm not going to say the movie here, but they watched it, and part of the movie is they had to murder somebody or kill somebody to be part of this gang. And so that's why they did. They went there, they waited until she had her back turned. I think they ended up getting like cigarettes and like $25 or something like that. It was like nothing.
So stupid.
But they basically shot her in the back of the head and murdered her. And then they got on the interstate and headed down to Vegas to join this gang. And the gangs were like, we want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And just...
Did they make it to Vegas?
They made it all the way to Vegas. Is my understanding.
Cow.
Yeah, they made it there. And
dude, so sad.
It's sad because I actually grew up with, their siblings and stuff, and they're good people. And again, the people that you hang out with will really impact your choices. So
well, and just such a, we always think we're living in the safest place. I'm in Rexburg right now, right?
Yep.
I don't have to lock my doors. I don't have to. Do I need to even conceal carry around these places? Banks are robbed here.
Oh, man.
Stuff happens. There's murders in Rexburg. There's murders in Rigby.
Heck, Firth, remember the lady a year ago, the old lady? She was, 87 or something like that?
I don't remember that.
Crazy story if you want to look it up, but she was in her home. She had a disabled son that was down in the basement. A guy broke into her house, pistol whipped her, handcuffed her to the chair. She was there for, I want to say, 10 or 12 hours. He ended up going down in the basement to get something, and she drug her chair over and got a revolver and stuck it between the seat of her chair. He came in and was starting to get after her. She drew her gun. He ended up shooting her once, and then she shot and killed him.
Oh, wow.
And it was 10 hours after she got shot that they showed up. She survived.
Oh, good.
But, Firth, Idaho.
Yeah, Firth. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it happens everywhere.
So that's where your awareness thing is just so important.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning it bothered my wife, but now it's just the expectation when we sit in a restaurant.
Yeah, where you're going to be at.
Yeah. It's even kind of funny. We'll go to dinner with friends and stuff, and they just kind of know.
Yes.
I don't make a big deal out of it, but they just kind of know, hey, I just like to.
Yeah.
And the other guys are probably like, why don't I get to protect them? But it is so important to just what's going on. I was walking in the mall yesterday, and a guy kind of cut me off a little bit, and then I walked right behind him. Mm-hmm. And my thought was, I knew that, you and I were going to be doing this. And for some reason, it popped into my head. That guy was not aware of me at all.
Oh, man.
I could have rear naked choked him.
Yeah.
I could have done anything else.
Ill intent?
He had nothing.
Yeah.
No clue. And it was it's a little sad. Or people, I was on a podcast. You'd love to meet this guy, Jeff Meyer.
Okay.
He's in Idaho Falls, and he's a mental coach.
Oh, awesome.
A really cool guy. He is on this mission right now to talk to people about distraction of their cell phone.
Oh, man.
Just hop into your cell phone and go to your settings or wherever and see your screen time.
Yeah. Hours.
Yeah. He said that if, like everything I say, the numbers might be off a little bit here, but essentially in 6th grade, when most parents are getting their kids' phones, if they just do the average that all the other kids are doing, by the time they're 30, It's 9 years.
9 years
Of being
from 6th grade till 30.
Yeah.
9 years of being
On their
this.
cell
Wow.
phone. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Crazy is that?
Wow.
So he said some kids at this point are like 12 plus hours a day on their phone.
12 plus hours a
So
day.
I was like, Jeff, what about that 10,000 hour rule? And
Yeah.
he's like, within 6 months, you're top of the world.
Wow.
And like, can you imagine if it's like, how do I build an online knife course?
Yeah.
But you're on Instagram, you're on
Yeah.
TikTok, and you're playing
Just wasting
games
time. Yeah.
Or you go, okay, I'm going to take that time, I'm going to dedicate it to a craft.
Wow.
You're the best in the world.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
That's crazy. But it's so easy not to do that.
Yeah. Oh, it's so easy.
Man, who was it? It was, I think it was Joe Rogan or Jocko. One of them was, no, it was Dana White actually. He's like, it doesn't take much nowadays because everybody's so addicted to our cell phones and everything else that's going on. But that's pretty interesting with the perspective of 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
9 years.
Can you believe that?
Of your life.
Yeah. And it might not be 12 hours that ends up being the 9 years. It might have been less. He just said the average time
the ballpark,
those kids are on the phone.
Wow.
And then he told me to go look up people walking into things on their phone. I've never seen these videos.
You haven't seen those?
No.
Yeah, they're funny. Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty fascinating when you walk around and you see how many people are on their phone or just like looking at their feet. Like there's my toes, just going about life and not really. Yeah.
Yeah. How can, in your opinion, like how can someone find that passion? Because I mean, you're obviously blessed and lucky to find that passion, but it's not luck and it's not just blessed. You were willing to go out and do the things that it took. You try all those different things until you found that passion.
Yeah, I think that's one thing about me, coming from where I came from, so kind of a little history of my life. When I was 3 years old, my mom decided that she had other things she wanted to do. So my dad was a single dad from the time I was 3 till about 9 or so, and I ended up living with my grandparents. But I kind of had this life change to the point where I was okay with not doing things correctly. Yeah. We had to figure out how to make our own food or walk to school or whatever as a kid. So it was like, I'm just doing the best I can. And I think a lot of people getting into things, they have the ego where it's like, they're going to go do jujitsu or something like that. And they get into it and it's like, man, I got my butt kicked by a 120-pound purple belt female. Yeah. I think that's what's helped me is just being okay with really sucking at first and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense because what we see in helping people start businesses. Yeah. Well, but I'm not an expert. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Good. Yeah.
Because what I've seen also in business is they hire a team of experts and then the business fails.
Yeah.
The business that has no experts, but they're all willing to go out and learn and fail.
Yeah.
Like, dude, post that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, you looked like a moron.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah.
You always look great.
Yeah.
Like, go back and look at, have you ever heard of Alex Hormozi?
Yes. I met him in an airport before he got big.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. He seems like if you met him in an airport, he's just a cool dude.
He was just genuine. Like I'd recognize it was when he was doing Gym Launch.
Yeah.
And he'd kind of gotten going. He hadn't really sold and done all that stuff. And I was like, I recognize that face just from the ads. And whenever I said hi to him, he's like, hey, buddy, just a good dude. So to see somebody be that successful based off the limited interaction I had with him is pretty cool.
That is cool.
But he's not afraid to fail.
And his very first content was like, whoa, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You've really come and learned. But then other people will never post that video.
No.
So they'll never become Alex Hormozi.
Yeah. Wow.
It's so I just read his $100 million leads.
Yes.
So good.
That's his second book, right? The blue cover.
I read that one before I read the other.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But then I bought the other one.
Yeah.
And then I accidentally bought it in French.
Oh, really?
So I had to send that one back to Amazon. But
do you see? So Alex actually talks about this in his book, but he recommends that you listen to it and read it at the same time. So he's got the whole book on YouTube for free as well.
Oh, it's on YouTube. I bought it on Audible.
Oh, well, maybe not leads, but I know the first $1 million offers is. But it's pretty fascinating that you talk about putting out content and whatever else, and even though he's putting out the stuff out there for free, I've been following his stuff for a while, and I still am purchasing his books and stuff because it's like I find value in what he's doing.
Yes,
and I think that's cool that he's put so much time into it. I can't remember. In one of his books, he talks about the money he's making, and it is insane. It was like more than like Ford and McDonald's or something like CEOs all combined.
Yeah, and what's crazy is his best content is free.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
People are like, hey, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
You'll have someone that's brand new to a course. They just built an online course.
Yep.
And then they'll have a coach who's worth, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yep.
And they're like, put it out for free.
Wow.
And people are like, I can't put it out for free. And
yeah,
they're
that's
like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, Who are you? Why would someone want your course for free, or like they're going to pay you $200?
Yeah.
Put it out for free.
Wow.
I mean, how does that work? Well, they're going to consume it.
Yep.
They're going to love it. And then they're going to wonder, if this is so good for free, what's their paid content?
Oh, wow.
So that's really what it's all about. Like,
Interesting.
I have a course that personal branding course.
Yeah, I want to take that.
That came out.
Yeah.
And so go purchase it, but then I will Venmo you back, because I want to get a few of like Facebook friends to just go and take it. So a couple people have bought it today, and I just Venmo'd them right back.
Nice.
But the idea there is like, get some content out there.
Yeah.
It's a cheap course.
Yep.
Eventually it will be free. So if people are like, well, I'll just wait for it, then that's cool. Just wait for it.
Yeah.
At some point it becomes free, but they're always wondering, if that's free, then you got your high ticket offer.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like your sky's the limit in the future, but you could offer a 30-minute free course online, and that's cool. But if you bring me to your gym, I charge this, but for an extra $3,000, I will give you a 3-hour private seminar.
Oh, that's a great idea.
You know, and they're like, they're giving me free stuff.
Yep.
He's giving me a decent deal to bring people to the gym, but then I get a private lesson.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how they're doing things.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It's really cool.
That's awesome.
I'll start to send you. I'm like, I am consuming.
That's what I love about you. Like, it's fun to have a friend like you that's like, you dive all in. And like you said, I've seen it from the outside. You're not afraid to make mistakes. I mean, what was it? You had that tactical one a few years ago, the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not afraid to do things, and that's
Total
really
flop.
cool. Yeah, but
I had a sweet trailer that had tons of targets.
Yeah, but it was cool. I was like, I want that trailer. So
yeah. I actually sold that trailer because I was like, there's a few $1,000s of stuff sitting in that trailer.
Yeah.
So now I still have all the targets.
Oh, nice.
You're welcome to the targets whenever you want them. But I did sell the trailer.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. Maybe that's kind of part of my life mission is showing people like, dude, it's okay to mess up.
Yeah.
I mess up all the time. I went to rehab.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got so addicted to Ambien that
Really?
it might as well have been alcohol.
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
But I screwed up.
Dude,
cool.
yeah.
Now go fix it.
Yeah.
Like, I mess up all the time. I hope she doesn't listen to this. But my sister once, she's like, Tyler, I wish I had your life.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you say that? She's like, well, just this and that. I'm like, Erica, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I went at that time. I was like, I am so addicted to Ambien. I'm taking naps on it.
Wow.
Like, this is, So also don't look at social media and think, I wish I had that. You have no idea what's going on. And we only put out the best, right?
You do, yep.
So I wasn't like, hey, I'm about to take an Ambien to take a nap,
Dude,
So just go mess up.
Yeah, that inspires me though. I had no idea that was like part of your background, but it just makes me respect you that much more. That you've gone through something that was difficult, and it's like, hey, I'm gonna change this, dude. That's awesome.
Oh well, that's kind. It's taken me a long time to talk about it.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, I was so ashamed of it, and then the shame and the guilt.
Yeah.
Like, guilt can actually be good. Shame is not good.
Yep.
Like, if we do something wrong, we can feel guilt.
Yeah.
But as soon as you feel shame, and they're like, you're enough. You're this. I still don't believe that everybody's enough, but that's just my fault. Like, that's me.
Yeah.
I think actually, if Christ died for our sins, then we are just not enough.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
It's taken me a long time to get comfortable to talk about it. I still don't actually talk about it much. So that actually just means but now everybody.
Now they're gonna know,
Yeah.
But I think here in this area too, the culture of it of saying that you did anything wrong is really looked negatively.
Oh, for sure.
But everybody has something they're working on.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
So I find it inspiring when people are like, dude, I had this thing, I had this addiction, I had this thing, whatever it is, and I overcame it, or I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. Maybe I'm not perfect, but I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I actually encourage people to go to AA meetings, even if they are not, everyone has some type of addiction.
Sure. Yeah.
The most spiritual room I've ever been in is a bunch of rough ex-alcoholics.
Yeah.
And they would even say I still am,
Yeah.
but just ex-alcoholics that are like, oh man, I really wanted to drink today.
Wow. They're just honest and raw about it, though.
But I didn't.
Yeah. Good.
I had some problems with my wife, but we talked about it.
Yeah.
Got this kid that's doing this. My job sucks. But guess what? I didn't drink today.
That's so awesome.
It's so cool.
That's
You're just
awesome.
like, you talk about tangible spirit. You're like, that was in the room.
That's cool.
It was really cool.
I might need to go. I've actually never had even a sip of alcohol in my life.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that's kind of funny. Like I go to these, trainings, whatever else, and everybody's like, hey, we're going to the, and it's like, dude, I don't drink. And what's wrong with you, man? But I've actually found peace in it. But as far as like, how cool that is that they're open about it and just saying like, yeah, this is, I'm working at it. And yeah,
that openness really, and this is where I should have been more open about it in the beginning.
Yeah.
I honestly think the openness is why they don't.
Really?
You know, not that I think that in Catholic confessional you should go and, but there is something about confessing to somebody.
Saying, hey, I got this thing.
I don't remember the step word for word, but it's like, talk to an individual and confess the exact nature of your wrongs.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing something in your life right now that just isn't really in alignment with your morals or your values or your goals, you do need to find someone that you can have confidence in and just tell them.
Yeah.
At that point, it's all out on the table. Now you can change it.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would encourage anyone to go to an AA meeting.
We'll find one. I'm sure they have them in Idle Falls too.
Yeah,
sure,
and I'd go with you. Like I should go more. Like it's important.
Yeah.
But it is so cool.
I forgot. I should know his name. I listened to his podcast, and he's got a great book. Oh man, the Power of One More. What is his name?
Oh yeah, I loved that book.
Yeah, that was a great book. But he talked about his dad, and how fascinating it is that you talk about AA, because I think his dad had mentioned that. Yeah, I'll think of his name in a minute. But he talked about his dad, how he had been an alcoholic. Ed Milet.
Yep.
Yes, man, he's awesome.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. So, but he talked about his dad having an addiction of alcohol, and just one day being like, yeah, I'm done. And he went in, never had alcohol again. But I guess when his father passed away, he had, over the years, had called everybody on their, what they call it, like birthday, when they stopped drinking. It was like their celebration day.
Yeah.
And he, I guess, had, thousands of people that he had cared for afterwards. And it's like, man, how awesome and is that somebody that had gone through something is willing to help others through their struggle. And I really think that is kind of the purpose of our life, is to find our own passion, but also to help other people. And pretty cool. So
yeah, that is. So if you go through the steps and you continue to live it, like you can be a sponsor for someone else.
Oh, that's what, sponsor. Yeah, that's what you call it.
Being a sponsor. So my grandpa, it's kind of crazy. He was born in 1905. So I never knew him. He died when my dad was 15.
Wow.
But he was an alcoholic. And then his oldest son was like 4 or 5, Bert, crawled up on his lap one day and he went, "Dad, when can I smoke and drink like you?"
Wow.
And apparently that day he stopped. And my dad said when he talked to his mom, so my grandma, he's like, "How was that when Dad quit?" She's like, "It was 3 months of hell."
Oh, I bet.
It was, but he just cold turkey.
Wow.
Like, if my kid is seeing me do this, like I've got to be done.
Wow.
I was not that strong.
Wow.
I was like, I need all the help I can get right now.
Yep.
So it's weird. It's weird if one, you can take a little tiny pill.
Yep.
And it has a devilish grip on us.
Yep.
And 2, how far we allow ourselves to go into the mental depths of hell.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go to hell. I don't think hell really exists anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think it's heaven, hell sort of thing.
Right.
But like, I don't want to go to hell because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've lived there, and it is not a place you want to be.
Wow. That changes your whole perspective on life, doesn't it?
It does, but it's important to talk about it.
Yes.
Because I probably have not said it like this in my own mind.
Yeah.
I'm more like, really wish I could sleep at night.
Yeah.
But when you think back to how bad it can get.
Wow. And you probably don't see it while you're there. Like, or do you?
Yeah. No, you're totally right. It is good to have others that are willing to be like, "Hey, you're in a really bad place right now."
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not. And they will deny it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a really good book for anyone that has family that's battling any type of addiction, mostly substance abuse, but I would say like any addiction.
Yeah.
It's called Unhooked.
Unhooked.
By, I have a podcast with him
Unhooked.
in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
Jason Coombs.
Jason Coombs. Okay. Yeah. He's not related to the Coombs in Idle Falls, is he? Probably not like the men to Colby Coombs and all those guys. Probably not.
I don't know. Do they have relations to like prophets of the church?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, he has an amazing story, but his book Unhooked, just to help family members, because you're gonna know someone in your life who has some type of addiction, and as soon as you bring it up to them, they're gonna, I'm not addicted to it.
Absolutely.
I had an uncle who got into drugs, but also smoking and drinking and alcoholism and everything. And he'd joke around about it once he was done with all of it. But he's like, quitting smoking's easy. Like, I've done it hundreds of times.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, you've done it hundreds of times, so therefore it wasn't easy. You're going back to it. We all know someone. So as soon as you go to them, you're like, hey, you got a problem. They're not going to believe you.
Yep.
They have to hit their own absolute rock bottom. At that point, if you let your ego go, then you can get help.
Wow.
And it was so cool to meet some of the people that we met, just crazy hard lives. Like one had been shot.
Wow.
Like I met this really cool lady. She was going through rehab. So she had already been through it, and then she was in a job helping people.
Yeah.
But she had been addicted to multiple different things, and she was in rehab. And I don't know how it all went down, but she ended up getting shot.
Wow.
She's in the hospital, and she's like, I have to call my coach at Brick House. Like, what? I have to call my coach. I've got to go to class today.
Wow.
And so, they're on the phone. I got to come to class. You can take today off. You got shot. I guess she ended up going.
No way.
And that's the kind of conviction that people have when they make that decision that things have got to change.
Wow.
And like Jason turns his life around, dedicates his entire life to helping people. Like that's what it's all about.
That's so awesome.
On the big level of owning, rehab centers, or the small level of being a sponsor.
Wow. That's really cool.
So,
and I think that's awesome when you look at people that have made those changes. They've experienced, maybe they've been open like you have, and they're like, hey, I want to help other people.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's too easy to get caught up in, well, I've got to pay the bills.
Yeah. Or the other side of it is you look at like, hey, I see what that guy's doing. I'm not that bad.
For sure.
Like,
yeah.
Oh,
I know I was there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a drug addict. It's prescribed.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no. Well, I appreciate it. I definitely didn't know we were going to talk about addiction.
I didn't either. I thought we were going to talk about like hatches.
Yeah. Well, we should actually just at least
Winkler.
talk about Winkler. What do you know about them?
I know that he makes really cool stuff. I know he's made stuff for the Navy SEALs, and man, he makes some really cool stuff.
I just listened to the Jack Carr books, and I'm like, I've got to have a Winkler Tomahawk. I don't know how to use it.
I think Jack Carr has sold more Winkler blades than
probably. Dude, it took 8 months to get.
Did it really take that long?
So you ordered it.
Yeah.
And then here's their pitch. They're good salespeople.
Yeah.
Order it today, but you don't have to pay for it until it ships.
Oh,
So
wow.
well, I can save up money over 8 months. We're good.
Yeah.
And then they email you like, crap, I forgot to save up money.
But how cool is that? That's a cool sheet too.
It just sits in the back behind podcasts. So
that's awesome.
Kind of fun.
I've got my new blade that came out.
Yes. I did want to talk about that. Yeah.
So interestingly enough, like I was going to be on this TV show called Knife or Death on Forge and Fire.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need a knife to do it. So I'd gone to Marshall Blade Camp. So Michael Janich is a mentor. I basically look at him as like a dad to me. He kind of was at a pivotal point in my life where he really kind of helped me gain confidence in life and kind of find a purpose.
Yeah.
And anyway, he had this training knife that he'd given out to us, and I really liked it. It was a Gununting, so like a Filipino fighting sword.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I was going to be on the show, I went to Thompson's like, hey, I want to make something like this that I can just go destroy this show. And so we worked with them, and we designed this knife, and it was probably 6 or 7 years ago. I think it was 2018, so 7 years ago. And they made it, and it was awesome. And then it just kind of sat on the shelf, and I had a couple of them that they'd given to me. And then a couple of years ago, they're like, hey, we want to sell that knife. And I've been so excited about this because it's something that, like, I helped design, and we got it out to the market, and people are going crazy over it. It's like it just won one of the top 8 knives of 2025.
Cool.
By Guns and Ammo magazine.
Yeah.
And it's selling like crazy.
Good.
And so it's fun to be like, hey, this is something that I'm a part of it. Now it's like global.
Yes.
So fun.
That's really cool. Well, and what's cool is you had no idea and you were doing all those things to figure out what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
That you're going to have a knife that becomes the 8th most popular guns and ammo knife. And that's really
cool. It's actually ranked 3 out of the 8. So it's like,
heck yeah.
Yeah. And it's huge. Like,
yeah. Okay. So tell me about it. Why? Because I saw it and I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I saw how big it is. I was like, what would I use it for?
What would you use it for? So the cool thing with it is the way it's designed. It was actually like the Filipinos, they used to use it for like clearing brush.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that kind of big curve on it. So if you ever looked at like a sai for clearing like grain or whatever, it's got that big hook on it.
Yeah.
So the idea on that blade, it's got kind of that curved in belly. So as you're catching, it catches all the material, and then it's got that whole blade to cut.
Yeah.
But then also, if you look at the angle on it, because it kind of curves at the tip down, with the traditional blade, like if I was thrusting forward, where my hand is, the blade's going to be like here. But where that is, it's going to be down. Mm-hmm. So the idea is for thrusting, it goes exactly where you're pointing.
Okay.
And then chopping, it's heavy on the front. So as you're chopping, it just puts all that energy in.
Yeah.
So it cuts and thrusts really well. It's good for clearing. So most people aren't going to use it for like a tactical combat knife.
Yeah.
Unless the world falls apart, then it's going to be the best knife out
Yeah,
there.
I need to get one just for that. Because zombie apocalypse, like that would have made The Walking Dead a better movie.
It would have, it'd have been over in one scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm really excited about it. It's functional for, a combative standpoint, but really, really excels in like clearing brush and just work. So it's kind of fun to have something that does both.
Yeah. Also cool that Tops is just so local.
Man, really cool. And if you talk about entrepreneurship, have you heard Leo's story?
No.
So Leo
Love to bring him on.
Oh, you need to bring Leo on. Yeah. We'll set that. I'll try and get him to.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So Leo, for those that don't know, he's the owner of Tops now. So the way that worked is he started as the janitor. He literally was the janitor of Tops Knives.
Okay.
And has worked his way all the way to the top. I think he's responsible for like 90% of the knives that they've designed.
Yeah.
And they've got hundreds of knives.
I was blown away when I got this.
Yeah,
they gave me a catalog.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. There are so many knives here.
Yeah, and all kinds. You can find anything you're interested in. They have something for everybody.
Yeah.
But I like that they're, they claim 101% made in the United States.
Yeah.
So all their steel, everything is here from the United States. So I love supporting that. And then just good dudes, just good people. Yeah.
Yeah, very personalized too. Like I bought it and paid the shipping, but then I emailed them and I wasn't gonna ask for my shipping dollars back or anything. Just it's extra money to support them or whatever.
Yep.
But in the email, if you want to pick it up, that's great. And right now you'll get a refund on your shipping.
Awesome.
It's so personalized. Then I get a phone call. I just figured I'd get an email.
Yeah.
Hey, this is so and so from Tops. Just want to let you know we just finished your knife. You're welcome to come down. When I pick it up, it still has some of the oil on.
Oh, yeah.
It came with extra oil and a rape whistle.
It did have the whistle.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
Everybody needs one of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll bring that to Mexico.
Yeah.
Just call the cartel.
Yeah. That's awesome. But good stuff.
So excited for you. And how many knives have you designed?
That's my third one that's gone in. So production going out that's my first one that's going out production through a company. And then I've had two other knives that I've purchased, and then when people want to buy them, they just came through me.
Okay.
And I think the first knife I designed, it was really cool. So I met Doug Markita from Forge and Fire years ago, and he's became a friend of mine. He's a good dude. But I gave him one of my knives, and then when I went to sell them, I sold out in 31 minutes.
Cool.
Because he's like, hey, check out my friend's knife. He's like, there it is. And it was like, dude, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then the second knife did really well as well. So.
Is the second knife the larger one?
That's the one you have. It's the Gogi 2. So, so the first one's the Gogi, and then the second one's just a bigger, more strong. It's thicker. So if you look at kind of the spine on this one, it's not quite that thick.
Yeah.
But I wanted something that wasn't going to break. So when I designed that one, it was like I want something that I can stick through metal, or we do a lot of testing on pork, like you mentioned. Mm-hmm. But I wanted something that went through a Ed Calderon class. So he's a guy that was anti-cartel in Mexico. And one of the things he had you do in his class is you would, try and smuggle a knife in, and then you had to take the knife and stick it through different parts of a hanging pig.
Yeah.
And they have one that they call a unicorn, where you stick it basically in the skull of the pig and try and break the knife off. And I wanted something that was going to hold up to that. So anyway, designed it thicker and kind of reinforced where we had the grinds and whatnot. And I stuck it through a filing cabinet, I want to say like 36 times, trying to break the tip off.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of that blade.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I've never used it for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm important. Like I obviously use it, and just having a knife is important.
Yep.
But it's also so nice and pretty. I haven't want to use it camping or anything. I just sometimes it's concealed, or when I go hunting, it's definitely in my backpack. I have it down.
Nice. To handle.
Easily accessible.
Yeah.
Are you still selling those?
That one I'm not currently. I need to do more runs of those. But I have two other blades in the work right now. I don't know when or if they're coming out. One will be a folder, and then one's a smaller blade that. So where I work, we're restricted to a 2.5-inch blade restriction. So I've got something in those lines as well right now. So
what's that hook called on the back of them that you can flip it open?
So those are a Kershaw or a Wave.
Yeah.
So that's built by Ernie Emerson, not Kershaw.
Yeah, the Emerson. Yeah. Is that still proprietary to him? Is it still?
It's not. So people are using that.
So on your flip out, will you do one of those?
It will not have that.
It won't have that.
No.
Okay.
No. I like those, but there's some limitations. So for those listening, so you basically picture like a folding knife has like a hook on the back. So when you pull it out of your pants, it opens up the blade. I really like those because you can you open that with one hand, or maybe you have arthritis or you're older. But the downside to it is to open that up, you're having to draw your elbow back to get it open.
Yeah.
So if I'm like rolling around or I'm trapped up against a wall to get that open, I still have to like pull out to the side or do something where I'm pulling my arm out here, which is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I do like them, but I like something that I can mechanically just.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love those. Just they're in
Yeah.
my pocket, and obviously I'm never taking my knife out to
Just-
use it
yeah,
in a
yeah.
defense situation, but I take
Yeah.
it out to use it all the time, and it's just so convenient.
It's so convenient.
I know you can buy them too to like
Yep.
put them on knives, but
Yeah, 5x5 makes 5x5 Combat Solutions. They make those, but I'd also add on the. I was going to go something really cool with that. Oh, the history of the wave. Have you heard about that?
no.
So when we're talking about this blade that opens up with that hook on the back, what I've heard, and maybe I'm wrong, but what I heard is years ago, Ernie Emerson, again, he's the legend in the knife world, but supposedly the Navy SEALs came up to him and like, hey, we want a combat folding knife that we can use. And we want something that when, it's sleek, we can hide it, but also if we're in a knife fight, if someone goes to stab us, we can like have this hook on the back to flip it out of their hands. And he's like, that's because he does knife stuff. And he's like, all right, your SEALs will do it for you. So supposedly he makes this folder that has this big hook off the back. And as he's pulling out his pocket, it kept opening. And he's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So he called up the Navy SEALs and he's like, hey, this knife keeps opening. Is it doing that for you? And they're like, yeah, we love it.
Oh, that's cool.
So he called up the patent and got it patented and made a ton of money off of it.
Good.
So again, one of those things, you go down life thinking, oh, I'm just doing this, and then something opens up.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It is. Opportunities will come when you find your passion. And that's mixed with something that the world needs and something that you're good at.
Yeah.
And then the money just follows. Like that's what's crazy about it. We're all so focused on money.
Yeah.
And if we really just focused on fun and passion, like my wife's really good at this. She's like,
Yeah.
are we having fun in business right now? I'm like, well, there are times when I'm not having fun in business. She's
Yeah.
like, then we're doing it wrong.
That's cool.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
It is. It's so interesting. But think of a coach coaching CrossFit. Think
Yeah.
of your jiu-jitsu coach.
Yep.
If they're not having fun, you're not going to class.
No. Yep.
All of a sudden you're having fun. You're learning. They're learning. You're paying them.
Yep.
Like it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect world.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, dude, I'm just proud of everything you've done.
Thanks.
Like really just honored to have you as a friend.
Yeah.
Like even if it's mostly just text messages from random times, but just keep it up.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I mean, you were one of the first gyms that supported me in doing seminars. I think I was like the second or third seminar I did here. So at your old
Yeah.
gym.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your friendship and what you've, provided to help me along the path too.
So do you remember when you did one here and I was going to show up
Yes.
and I didn't?
Yeah. Yep.
In the thick of all that crap.
Yeah. Oh, that Ben, are you serious?
Yep. So it was
Wow.
like I was, you just couldn't count on me.
Wow.
Because one day I'm like, all gung ho,
Yeah.
like let's go do this.
Yeah.
And then like a few crappy nights and a few,
Wow.
and then like if I hadn't taken it in a while, like it's just
Dude.
pharmaceuticals, man. I'm
Dude.
excited for RFK Jr. to come in here. And, yeah,
Dude, that's
yeah. People just need help.
yeah.
Like that's what it is.
Yep.
I didn't know it.
Yeah.
So people just need help. But
Yeah.
that was it. That was why.
Wow.
That's why I didn't come that day because I said I would,
Yeah.
but just in the thick of that crap.
I never had any idea. Like how
Yeah.
cool though that you've experienced that and came out the top, like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a battle every day. Sleep is a battle.
Oh, yeah.
Like I hate bedtime.
Yeah.
But life is so good.
Yep.
And we can have that outlook of,
Yep.
hey, I went through something, I learned from it. But I also don't want to say I'll never get there again.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to arrive.
Yep.
As soon as I've arrived, I'm not learning.
Yeah.
So I haven't arrived. And that's where those old guys at the AA meetings,
Yeah.
they know.
Wow.
If they have a bad day, they might go drink.
Really?
Like, they're like, I'm not immune from it,
Wow.
but I'm sober 20 years.
That's
But
awesome.
but 24 hours at a time, like
Yeah.
it's cool. We'll have to go. Hit
That'd be
one of
fun.
those up.
I'd love to go to.
So,
Yeah. Man,
It's fun.
little things every day, just a little bit
And
better.
that's really what it's all about. Like, and my wife has to remind me. Like, I might seem all positive all the time, but she's like, precept upon precept, Tyler, line up on line. Like,
Yeah.
we have to learn this stuff little, but I'm like, I want it now.
Yes.
So that's why we have good women in our lives. too.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
dude, thank you, and
Yeah.
excited to see your life.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.